Welcome to another edition of the SNDP Podcast Show on the Schmuck Sports Network, episode 58. Dan, how you doing this week?
Great. How's it going? I hope everybody had a great Christmas. I know I did, and I know Steve did, at being at his girlfriend's. How's it going tonight, Steve?
Can't complain. This week's song, by the way, is Cross the Bear by Division 1.1. Don't forget to check them out. I know they're working hard this holiday season. They actually have a concert coming up in a couple of weeks. Should have more details next week for you. Keep in mind, next week, by the way, we will be recording Monday before the new year, and everybody will have that out by Tuesday.
Yeah, it'll be pretty much our year in review of all the good and bad that's happened in the sports world. We're actually going to have a football review with the Jets and Giants, unfortunately because both teams are out of the playoffs. But we're going to make our previews. My Super Bowl teams are still locked in, and I'm sure Steve's is if we look back early in the season. Definitely been a crazy, crazy season so far, and I can't believe the season's already over.
But there's still a big cluster of teams that still have to clinch, especially in the AFC. So we'll get into that a little later. But right now, let's go play a little more Division 1.1, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the SNDP podcast. You just listened to the Division 1.1 Cross the Bear, this week's song. We're starting off tonight's show with the New York hockey scene. Steven, the Islanders are showing a little bit of a pulse. Maybe it might be a little too late, but the Islanders are actually showing a pulse.
It's definitely not too late because there's still 40% of the season left. So it's definitely not too late, especially in the East where no team is really stepping up and being any good.
I don't know. They did.
The East is awful.
The East is awful.
The East is awful. Since last time we talked, though, they are 2-1. Granted, they gave up an awful 2-goal lead in Detroit. Not in Detroit. They won in Detroit.
Yeah, they won in Detroit.
The 2-goal lead was against Anaheim on Saturday.
Okay, I don't get why. I don't think the Islanders might be one of the few teams that can only not. Why do they blow so many games like that? And don't give me inexperience, because
it's got nothing to do with inexperience. Granted, the Ducks are the hottest team in the NHL.
They are, but
they're like going into the game. They're 8-0-2.
I've never seen a team blow too many multi-goal games like the Islanders have as of late. And it comes to a point where like enough.
It's the defense. They don't have they lack a defensive presence on the team, and that's what it comes down to, because there is an offense there, and you see it. Teams only going to score 3 to 4 goals.
Yeah,
2-3 goals a night.
Yeah,
you're not going to score 7 goals a night.
And one night, and some nights, the opposing team's goalie is going to be on their head, and they're going to lose those tough games.
Right, and you're going to lose games 1-0, 2-1 to games, but the idea is defense. Without defense, it's not the offensive problem. It's the defensive problem.
Not at all. And the first line's starting to heat up.
Yeah. So now the rest of it's got to start heating up.
And
Grabner's getting hot again.
Was Saturday night's game lost in overtime?
No, regulation.
So they didn't
3-1 going into third, and then
that's you can't let that happen. Granted, with the team you're playing, you gotta give the Islanders credit for showing up against at the Garden. House of Horrors normally for the Islanders.
They were handed the
penalty shot, which the Islanders took advantage of, and Michael Grabner finally showing a pulse. I know he was in your doghouse for most of November, so that was great to see. He's actually
3 goals and 4, and
he's starting to heat up. So that's good things to see. The Islanders are getting that secondary scoring, which is desperately needed. That they were begging for during the 10-game losing streak. Let's see. How's Tavares doing as of late?
Tavares is getting assists. He's got to put the puck in the net.
But that's Tavares in a nutshell. He's able to pass the puck, get goal scoring. I've seen Kyle Oposo getting most of those points though, goals for him.
Vanek's been stepping up. He actually had 2 goals Saturday night.
So is that since you are the pulse of the Islander people more than I am, of course. Are the stupid rumors of not rumors, stupid Facebook and on their Twitter dying down of Matt Moulson was the dumbest trade in the world?
No, of course not.
Well, still,
Vanek is the worst player ever. Didn't you know that? Worst hockey player ever.
That I don't get that. That was completely a good move at the time.
It still is a good move.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And
Matt Moulson's been benched about 4 out of every 5 games now.
And that's what I'm saying. And he has better trade value if the Islanders do want to ship him away if they know they're not going to resign him.
And also, Moulson is going to end up with what the Islanders have in the system.
Yeah.
Moulson one day will end up being a 3rd, 4th line guy.
Exactly.
He'll never be a full first line guy anymore.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to take away Tavares and you're going to see the player that Moulson really is. It was like some ridiculous stat of in the past 3 years. With Tavares, he's like a plus 30.
Without him,
he's like a negative 50.
Yeah, something stupid and drastic like that. I can only imagine because look at just the 90% of his times or goals were garbage goals. Granted, you need those kind of goals, but
I mean, granted, Moulson was the slot guy, quote unquote, and he was the guy in front of the net. And yeah, they're missing that, but you're slowly starting to see that out of guys like Brock Nelson, who's getting power play time. He gets in front of the net. He's a big guy. He's about 6'4", maybe 6'5", who gets in front of the net. Like I said, that's what they need. They need another guy though to get in front of the net. A lot of the passes the Islanders make go to the slot. There's never anybody there because they all cluster into one area.
Yeah, you can see that.
But that's the Islander hockey. It's go down low,
and try to jam it in.
Right.
I got you.
Or get it to the point and have them shoot it with the 3 guys down low.
Is anybody on the defense, on the power play, on the point improving as of late or anything? I know it's been not
exactly. I mean, I feel like at this point that first power play line of Franzik, Poso, Tavares, and actually they've been using Vanek's on it as well, and they've been using Brock also as the 4th forward.
Okay.
There was a little bit of Strome there for a little while as well.
How has Strome been playing?
He's still getting accustomed.
Okay.
You can tell. You can still tell.
But he looks natural though, right?
He needs that goal.
Okay. Well,
he needs that goal to take that deep
calm
breath
down a bit. Oh, gotcha.
I wouldn't be shocked.
But he looks natural out there, though.
Yes, but I also wouldn't be shocked to see him sit for a game coming up. They're playing 3 games in 4 nights before the new year.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be shocked to see him take a seat for one of those nights just to let him take it in again. Granted, he had that first, but just to let him get that breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, I'm in the National Hockey League kind of thing. Let me just take a breather. He did get his first points against the Rangers on Friday night, right? Correct, right?
Yes, he had his first career assist against the Rangers.
Okay. Who do the Islanders have this weekend coming up? I know they have the Devils on Saturday. Who do they have?
Devils Saturday, Minnesota Sunday, and then in Boston on Tuesday.
Okay, and I know you're going to Boston on Tuesday.
Yes.
So hopefully you bring some good luck to that.
I hope so.
So what are you expecting out of that 4-game stretch?
Minnesota's a tough team.
With Zach Parise and everything like that.
Well, Parise's been hurt, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with Parise. Parise's been hurt. The rest of the team's pretty decent. They have some pretty good goaltending. Backstrom's their main goalie right now. Harden's supposed to be, but he's out. He of course is that great story from last year with TMS. But they're a tough team, Minnesota. But then again, they play in the West. But it's still a winnable game.
Okay.
It is a winnable game.
Okay.
The Devils, they should beat.
That's the thing. The Devils have been... Boston's going to be a rough night. I know you're going to be at the game. Boston's just at another level compared against the Islanders anytime soon. So if the Islanders do pull up the upset, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
With the Redskins, I'm thinking the wrong sport. With the Red Wings the other night, it's just I was watching 24/7, and you could just tell that the Red Wings are just beaten up to a bloody pulp right now, and just everybody's hurt right now for them. So the Islanders were able to take advantage of that and having not the custom guys playing on the Detroit Red Wings. So the Islanders did catch a break with that. I can't wait to see them on NHL 24/7 though next week.
That's right.
Saturday's episode, so that's going to be fun. Both New York teams are actually going to be on it because the Rangers actually beat the Maple Leafs on Monday night. So it's going to be a New York flavored 24/7 this week. So that should be fun.
You know what's interesting? The times that they don't show the New York teams. I remember when the Penguins were on it a couple years ago. Remember when Crosby had that like 20-game point streak or something, and the Islanders broke it? They didn't even show that game.
Yeah.
I think they showed Crosby gets stopped on the shootout goal in the shootout to lose, and that was all of that game that they showed.
Oh, they're definitely going to show the Toronto Ranger game 100% because that game ended in a shootout and it was a good ending to that game. So I could definitely see that happening. Let's talk about the Rangers. The Rangers, other than the game against the Rangers, once again is hot and cold. Icy cold. The Ranger Player of the Week has to be Cam Talbot again. He's stepping up, playing big. He's playing better than Henrik Lundqvist right now. Obviously, I'm not saying he's better than Henrik, because like we say back of baseball cards, the stats don't lie. But as of right now, Cam Talbot is holding his own and playing really well.
There was actually a hashtag on Twitter the other day it was hashtag Trade Hank.
But yeah, after
Ranger Twitter is going to start turning into Islander.
Oh, it's already turning there. You can tell. But I don't know. Let's see. They lost the Islanders. They lost 5-3. One was an empty netter, and they should have never gotten the penalty shot. So all hell broke loose with that. But the Islanders did earn those 2 points. Then Minnesota, they played lights out with Minnesota. They just played better. They played that rare 60-minute of awesome hockey.
Right.
Then Monday night, I watched majority of the game Monday night. Monday night was pretty good. What happened was that was a cluster how the Maple Leafs scored a goal in the third period. It was like 1 minute left, and they were just jamming the puck, and for some reason the ref didn't blow the puck, and they found the open rebound, and Kadri scored. Right. So that caused a whole cluster. I'm sure.
Been there, seeing that.
Yeah. I'm sure Talbot's gonna get a fine from the FCC because the MSG didn't have the 5-second buffer when they went back to the replay. It was pretty ugly situation like that. They didn't really review it, but they never blew the whistle. So that was a tough break, and then the Rangers found a way to win an 8-0 shootout. So the Rangers have
the same thing happened. You're talking about the puck. The same thing actually happened in Phoenix the other night in overtime. Buffalo took a shot. It went up in the air, and nobody can find it. It was actually sticking out of the back of Mike Smith's pants. And when he went back to get into the crease,
I saw
he slid into the goal.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's a good goal?
Yeah, that's crazy. I would have been mad. For the Rangers coming up, the next 3 games before New Year's Day is they're at Washington, so you're probably going to put Henrik Lundqvist out there. Granted, the last time they played the Capitals won. I was actually at that game, so I remember that quite vividly. But the Rangers always play well in D.C., so I could see the Rangers pulling that out. Tampa Bay, that's going to be a Sunday. It's going to be interesting. Tampa Bay, like we mentioned last week, they're playing pretty well right now. Surprisingly pretty well with all the injuries from Stamkos and others. That's going to be a tough game. And then the next night, then Tuesday night on New Year's Eve, the Rangers are in Florida, to finish up that road trip, is against the Panthers. I could see the Rangers pulling out 2 out of 3.
I could see it definitely. 2 out of 3 sounds about right.
2 out of 3 or 1-1, depending. But that's just beginning to show. It really, the key to this season is when is the Rangers going to get Henrik Lundqvist back?
I feel like they're afraid to play him so many games, and we've talked about this so many times with the Olympic year.
We can get this to nauseum, but you're right. But
I think that
they shouldn't worry about the Olympics.
I think that Tablet's playing good enough where you should stop worrying about Lundqvist until after the Olympic break, when you have to make that push.
I'm with you 100% with that. But the thing is with Talbot, the last 2 starts was the hot hand. He won that game on Sunday, so all right, it was a back-to-back anyway. But let's play Talbot. He's the hot hand, especially on how Henrik lost 2 prior games. So they want to just start any kind of streak as possible. That's my inkling towards that right now. But we all know you have to be the biggest idiot to think that Henrik Lundqvist is not the piece of the Rangers' future and present for them to have any shot making a run at any sort of a playoff contention for the season.
100%. Like I said, though, Talbot's hot.
Yeah.
Like you said. Ride the hot hand.
And by the way, he does have the best goalie mask in the whole NHL. That's second thought.
Well, we haven't seen. I actually saw the Red Wing one is pretty cool for not the Red Wings. Who's the guy who has the cool one? Dallas guy.
Gotcha.
He's got like Brett Hull, Marty Turco.
Yeah, still don't beat Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. No, that is pretty cool. I think I've seen that, but that's pretty cool. We forgot to mention thanking Dan Freeman from coming on last week.
We didn't. We did. That was an amazing interview.
That was a very good interview. You could see him under fire on Twitter from Islanders Twitter all the time. Poor guy, but he's definitely holding his own, and especially keep grinding. So it's really nice to see hockey being talked about on WFAN's website, which is not always the case the last couple of years. So that's a good thing.
Especially Islander hockey.
Exactly, especially Islander hockey. Any publicity is good publicity, the way I think about it.
Yes, so. That's right, 100%. But they got to win. The Islander problem is they have to win at home.
Yeah, well, that's been their problem forever. That's always been their problem. For some reason, they don't play well at home. That seems to be the golden trend of every New York sports team, by the way. The Rangers, they played awful in their 9-game homestand, and same with the Knicks, same with Brooklyn. Every team has problems playing at home. I don't understand what the deal is with that. It just must be a New York thing right now, and they can't shake it. So.
Speaking of shitty New York teams,
we have to talk about them. Yes, the New York Knicks and Brooklyn Nets basketball.
But we're gonna take a little break first. Listen more, a little Division 1.1. Try a little. Then we'll come back and talk about that.
SNDPODCAST is no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Hockey League or any of its affiliates.
And welcome back to the S&D Podcast Show, episode 58. Once again, Division 1.1, Cross the Bear, this week's song. Well, first off, I would just like to state...
It's a nightmare season, like Deron Williams said, for everybody in New York City.
I wasn't even going to talk about the teams yet. Those things that they wore for Christmas were hideous.
Yeah, I don't know where the creative fashion place in the NBA was for those people wear. I'm shocked they didn't get fired.
They should be fired.
The shorts are cool. Half the jersey was cool. The shorts were pretty cool. If they had regular, like, jerseys, if those things were, like, regular jerseys, maybe they might have gotten a pass.
Basically, honestly, you could wear those under the jerseys.
Yeah, those should be the warm-up shirts.
Yeah, fine. Let those be the warm-ups.
But I like the shorts. The shorts are cool. I definitely like the shorts. But the shirts, you can't get away with those. Those were pretty bad. They get a foul on those ugly, hideous jerseys. I'm sorry for not spitting out hideous. I don't know where to begin. It's just been that kind of season for the NBA.
Well, I'm proud to finally hear Jason Kidd does have a voice in this team.
Yeah, Jason Kidd finally has a voice. It's too little, too late, as you can see. Jason Kidd, the Nets just was the Knicks and Nets combined lost by 90 points.
Granted, I knew the Knicks were going to lose.
Oh yeah, the minute you heard Carmelo was going to get hurt.
No. I knew they were going to lose in general.
Oh yeah.
When Carmelo got hurt, I knew it was going to be at least 20.
Yeah, I'm honestly happy I was able to spend time with my family and not be able to watch the Knicks game yesterday. I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful for that.
By the way, before we move forward, we were talking about jerseys. Did you see the jersey foul in L.A.?
No. LeBron
James
yeah.
LA Laker jersey.
Yeah, I love one. He wasted $250. Especially if anybody bought the T-shirt jerseys, they also wasted $250 jerseys. And if you see anybody at the Garden or Barclays Center wearing those jerseys,
laugh at them,
and just mock them for being such an idiot. And
hey, you know what? If that team ends up getting the guy, then it won't look too bad.
Yeah,
but for now, it looks bad.
I'm talking about the jersey T-shirts.
Oh, the jersey T-shirts?
Yeah.
Oh, those you can laugh at them.
Yeah. Why would you waste that much money on that? But
you don't want a T-shirt for $200?
$250. I'm sure it's $250.
Well, maybe we can get them blank.
Maybe the shirt, maybe shorts for $100. Maybe. No, I'm kidding.
The shirt blank could be like $150, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know.
It's got the chrome on it. It's got to be a
Yeah.
little bit more money.
What's with it? Well, the NHL and NBA with chromes? Like, why?
Shiny.
Why? I don't,
Yeah, the NFL logo is always chrome, and the NFL is the biggest sports business.
like, think about it. Christmas Day was all chromed out. The hockey series, the Coors
Stadium
Light,
series.
the Stadium Series is all chromed out because of Coors Light. It's just I don't know. They're loving their chrome right now. I guess.
Who came out with it? Who came out with the chrome idea first? The NBA or the NHL, or was it around the same time?
It was around the same time. It was tied. But honestly, it's just like the black thing a couple years ago when people would wear the black jerseys like with the Mets.
Well, the Mets had the black jersey.
That's what I'm saying. The black lining and everything like that with people with the chrome outlining.
Oh.
The Knicks have the silver outlining now. They took out the black. Yeah, I'm just trying to point it out and prolonging the segment, even though it's dying in front of my eyes. But honestly, let's just get it over with and rip it off like a Band-Aid, because I know we can't stress how awful both teams are as of late. Just
The Nets are
rip it
done.
off.
Can we kill the Nets done?
Yeah, no,
Lopez
they're
is done.
Lopez is done. They're done. The team is so fractured. Deron Williams is gonna get traded before we know it. The team is gonna.
I think Joe Johnson's got more value.
Yeah, there's gonna be more moves. They're done.
Was it you who said it? Like, why would they go after guys who were awful last year because of their age?
Because for some reason Prokhorov wanted to make that big splash. They just went about
so
it.
go after somebody like a Rudy Gay player.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Because think about this: if they brought in Rudy Gay, you would have Lopez down low.
Yeah,
Gay at Rudy Gay would be the small forward. Joe Johnson your shooting guard, and Darren Williams as your point guard.
yeah, no,
That's a good 4 players.
Yeah, and what's rough to watch the Nets is that they wasted. They thought they were that good to make that incredible leap into the finals. Paul Pierce is not even a starter anymore. Paul Pierce is a bench guy right now.
He was actually working his way to possibly 6th man of the year.
That's
He is
saying
playing
something
well, though.
for what you gave up for him and KG. Obviously, the shells of themselves. From what you gave up for them, yikes! And that's not what you wanted at the early of the year. The team to beat.
Speaking of KG, by the
that
way,
they could handle the heat and everything like that.
Speaking of KG, by the way, did you see that he is on the cover of the Boston Celtic 2014 calendar?
Well, those calendars are the worst calendars. I hate when people give me those calendars because half the team is always traded. I like when I was a kid and when I would get those the calendars go on. I remember when someone gave me an Islander one and half the team was gone. They planned those years in advance, and like it's just one of those hideous things. The Nets, Jason Kidd finally spoke up. But it was a lot of press conference fodder yesterday for Christmas Day. Jason Kidd finally spoke up. Let's see. Ron Williams said it was a nightmare season, coming full head. Of course, that's what happens when you get embarrassed on Christmas Day.
Let me ask you this question about Darren Williams. He was good in Utah.
He was decent with the Nets, too. Like, he's just that type of player.
But think about it.
He thinks too highly of himself. Everybody thinks he's better than what he really is.
He was good on a crappy team in Utah with nobody around him.
Yes.
So he was the one guy you got to watch. He was good a couple of years ago with New Jersey Nets with nobody around him. Now you're putting pieces around him, and look at how bad he's been playing. Granted, he still averages 7 assists a game, but he's averaging 12 and 7 so far in 17 games. That's decent numbers, but that's not starting point guard, top 5 point guard in the league numbers.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just he's when he's awesome, he's also underrated. But when he sucks, it's blown out to proportion.
Now, we're talking bad about him right now, and you know that in their next game he's going to put up 40 points.
Of course, he's that type of player, but I think he's overrated at times.
I don't think he's a guy to run your team.
And he is a coach killer.
He's a coach killer, first off. He's not a point guard to me. If you put him at the 2...
No, he is a point guard. He's 100% a point guard. He drives to the hole. He facilitates to the hole and sets up plays. He's 100% a point guard.
I don't think he could be a point guard on a legitimate team.
Right now, no. It doesn't show it. It's just a cluster right now. They just didn't show up to play yesterday. And that's it. Inexcusable. I know the Bulls are a better team, even without D Rose
or Dang,
but you got to show up on Christmas Day.
All right, If the Nets called the Knicks and offered Darren Williams, and it was a good deal, would you take Darren Williams?
Yeah, but
You would want Darren Williams.
Honestly, the Knicks are such a cluster. They're going to do something stupid for a trade, and it's going to get me angry.
Well, they're going after Rondo.
I'm down for Rondo.
If it's not this year they're going after him, they're going hard next year because he's a free agent at the end of next year.
Honestly, the Knicks are even worse of a shape than the Nets. Honestly, both teams with the trading draft picks away, neither team has draft picks. They both better off trading draft picks for this year's draft and get a player that they could groom with a certain player that they have from this year's team. It's just utterly disgusting. I know with Melo out for a while, both Pigioni and Elton both being hurt. It's just ugly right now. It's just so ugly and not watchable bad. Not even watchable bad.
Who's this guy who's been playing for them? Beno?
Yeah, Beno. He's been all right. He's doing okay. He's our third point guard. What do you expect? Not everybody's Jeremy Lin coming out of nowhere, blowing out, showing up out of nowhere. It's just not happening.
Sorry, it's time to put Chris Smith in the game.
Yeah, he had a minute playing time. Congratulations to Chris Smith on that, by the way.
That was his Christmas present.
Yeah, it was his Christmas present. Best was J.R. Smith going to Twitter again the other day before Christmas. It was not during Christmas.
His tattoo, right?
Oh, that weird guy loving J.R. Smith tattooing his neck, showing homage to him is the weirdest thing ever. I would never do that.
You're telling me
big fat ugly New York Yankee logo. I'm not saying that because of the Yankee logo. It was just poorly done.
So you're saying you're not getting a big picture of Eli on your stomach anytime?
No, definitely not. It's just of all the players to worship, J.R. Smith's absolutely the last person to worship. And the Knicks, of course, signed him to a 4-year deal after the fact. After the fact of everything. The Knicks are just a cluster. They didn't even show up to play yesterday.
I still think it's funny with the suspension. 5 games for any other league. It's like half the season.
Yeah, pretty
the
much.
NBA, it's 5.
Yeah, because they expect it. Let's see. Who had the quote of the day yesterday? Oh, Tyson Chandler. They go, Tyson, so what's the problems with the Knicks defense and everything like that? He goes, I don't want to talk about it. He
said they picked us apart.
They picked us apart, and if I have time to discuss it, I won't be able to see my children open up presents, and I want to see my kids open up presents. Quote unquote. It's just a cluster right now. It's the same old. Just ugly. They're just pitiful to watch, and honestly, Knicks fans have every right not to show up to the Garden. Both teams all their fans have a right to not show up to the Garden.
See what Durant said?
And Durant said, "Oh, it's quiet." No crap. It's Christmas Day. People should be with their families who are celebrating Christmas and not be at Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center. I know it's cool traditions, and if that's your tradition, awesome. But if my team's down 30 points on Christmas Day, and I know my family is going to be pissed that I'm at the game already, you're damn right I'm taking the earliest train or driving. Yeah, there's no way I'm staying for that cluster. It's just embarrassing. It's just ugly. It's like, I'm shocked how Whitson still has a job. And I'm saying that before Christmas. And the Knicks know that it's that bad that they can't fire him. And what are they going to do? They're going to bring someone in, maybe like Allen Houston, who has no history coaching, and make it even more of a disaster. And it's being a Knicks fan. Last year was our shot, and now we're in hell now. The Dolans don't know what they're doing, and it's really sad to see. And Knicks got to find a way to get draft picks. That's the way I'm looking at it. The Knicks got to find a way to play good and get a couple deals and get out of cap hell. Hopefully it's Stoudemire if he keeps on playing well. Just find something. And it's just gross. I'm disgusted with both New York teams. They're like, and I don't like the Nets. I don't even like the Nets, but I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted for Net fans. And it's just oh my god, so bad. It's not even worth talking about right now. Like they're that bad. How do you both lose by 30 points at home?
I think Wade said it the best. I think NBA champions had to go on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. If you want to have, let's say, Miami, LA, Christmas Day.
You know what happened with Miami Christmas Day is because they had the Kobe, and then Kobe got hurt. They were thinking, but what the originally planned was, you know what the original plan was for that?
Kobe coming back.
Kobe was coming back the first time. for that injury. And, yep, it failed miserably because Kobe rushed himself and his 38-year-old body got hurt again.
Okay.
That's exactly why it was in LA.
Next year, give me Heat, Indiana.
But that's always
as
a
one
catch.
game.
See, that's the problem. That's always a catch-22 with those kind of games because, don't get me wrong, the
I'm
Pacers
saying just
are
give
good.
me 2 games.
Oh yeah.
You give me the big game, the big matchup, what you expect to be the big matchup in the East, and what you expect to be the big.
But that's
matchup
the problem with
in
the NBA. This is the only time the NBA has the whole universe, and that's why they love the whole. They love the whole. What's it called? They love the attention. They had 5 games. It's fun to watch if the games are interesting. Too bad half the games yesterday were boring and not even worth watching, and that sucks to see. But could the Knicks and Nets wake up? That would be a blessing in the skies, and it would be a Christmas miracle. But it'd be shocking. It's, at the end of the day, just shocking and ugliness. And I'm done talking about this crap. They're garbage. They're not even worth talking about.
So let's go play some more Division 1.1, and we'll be right back.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Basketball Association or any of its affiliates.
Make sure to check out next week's S&D Podcast show for our 2013 year in review.
That's right, Steve. We'll have our heroes and goats of New York sports for 2013.
We also have our 2013 year in review for the Giants and our off-season preview for the Giants, as well as bring in our good friend Rob Barden to join us and talk about the Jet 2013 season, as well as his predictions for the off-season.
So make sure you check us out next week. Alright, welcome back to the SD Podcast. As you just heard, our preview for next week's show is going to be a fun-packed show. Me and Steve are working hard for the end of the year show. Steve, let's start with the very rare, both New York football teams won on Sunday. Granted, it was too little too late for both teams, but at the end of the day, both of these teams won.
Well, we're lucky we didn't play lines this week because they signed the rugby player.
Yes. Boo.
Really fast rugby player.
Honestly, both games were games that we will not remember 5 years down the road. It was more of, oh, God.
Drill Jernigan's will remember.
Yes. If you saw my Facebook status, and I text this to Steve, what was the early prop bets from Vegas of when Jarrell Jernigan has scored more touchdowns than Akeem Nicks through 16 weeks? What was the starting bet? That's as kidding aside, that's pretty sad. But Jarrell Jernigan had a day of his life on Sunday. It was Eli's favorite target, and he found ways to get open, and he scored his first career touchdown, and he fought the most important catch at the end of the day in the overtime game. Both teams just didn't want to win the game. It came down to it. And the Lions wanted to give it away. They were just a little bit more generous in this season of giving, and gave the Giants the 23-20 win, which was nice to see. It was a nice win. I know people got upset because it might hurt our draft. Granted, we're still going to get a top 10 draft pick, so at the end of the day, it's really...
I'm sorry, but if Jim Schwartz has a job by New Year's...
Yeah, they're a joke. They had the chance to win the division, and they completely blew it, and Jim Schwartz is a joke, like I've been saying all year long. I don't like them. They always have problems getting away with stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't understand what the problem is, but I'm going to tell you right now that if the rumors are true, the next best coach for them,
Who would?
Rex Ryan.
Yeah, but Rex is staying as a Jet. I definitely feel that.
You know what? He said he's playing for his job, so you never know. You just never know.
You're right. I think the Jets owe Rex Ryan another to finish out his contract next year.
I just think that they're going to take a defensive line in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
And give Rex Ryan that defensive line.
Oh, that would be great. If the Jets do
and
ultimately
the offense will handle itself.
Yeah, they need to get a good offensive coordinator and take care of that. But
they can have Gilbert.
Gilbert's probably going to retire. So
sad news.
But yeah, honestly though, I think the Jets would make a really stupid decision to fire Rex Ryan because there isn't that one coach that, oh my God, we have to fire our coach to get that coach kind of thing. And I really, really, really think that it would be a disservice to them. I think the Jets should finish out the contract with him and see what happens. They were not supposed to win 7 games this year. If you told me the Jets were going to win 7 games, we all said you're nuts at the start of the year. And I know everybody said that. All the people who predicted everything, there was no shot the Jets were winning 7 games, and they have a shot at being 8-8. Very realistic game after you see the Dolphins lay an egg when they knew they could gain playoff ground against the backup quarterback to the Buffalo Bills, Thad Lewis. Are you kidding me? Are you really, really kidding me right now? That just shows to me. I know it's a week-to-week league. It could easily be the Dolphins' week. They could easily find a way to show up and play hard and clinch that 6th spot. The 6th spot is theirs for the taking, and they just have to win, and it'll be theirs.
I agree.
So
the AFC's a cluster, but we'll talk about scenarios.
But since the Jets are playing the Dolphins, that's why I brought in the Dolphins to this scenario. Honestly, the Jets have played well. Last week, Geno Smith was able to move the ball, granted, against the Cleveland Browns. We both had the Browns. Just the way the Browns were playing this year, I thought they were going to come and take a win from the Jets, just how the Jets have been playing as well as of late. That's why I took the Browns. I was obviously wrong, but Geno Smith played well. David Nelson had 2 touchdowns. They're continuing to pound the ball with Chris Ivory. That was great to see. That was refreshing. So at the end of the day, for the 5th time I said at the end of the day, when it all comes push to shove, they did play well when they needed the win. And it was nice to see them get their final home victory, especially on how hard they've been playing this year. It's been a complete cluster up and down. They played that 500 roll that everybody would be happy to get at the end of the year, which none of us expected. So I don't
think they end up at 500 though.
Well, 7-9 is like, okay, you're around 500. A couple games could have went here and there, which could have happened. So
if they didn't go on that 3-game losing streak, and they did,
yeah,
they would have been fine. They would have still been in the race today.
Absolutely, of course. And when you're 7-9, the 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, those are 500 teams in my eyes, because they're all the NFL is so close that it was one of those weird games here and there, cost 1 or 2 games there. So in that range, I think they're 500 teams right there. So if the Jets do end up losing, they're a 500 team, I believe. So I think the Jets are unfortunately going to lose because the Dolphins have been so good this whole entire year, and they are the home team. They have the playoffs wrapped up. If they win, I think they're going to win that. Unfortunately, the Jets, they're going to come out fighting, but at the end of it, it's going to be the Dolphins finding a way to pull out. I really like Ryan Tannehill, and I expect them to win.
We've talked Akeem Nicks is a free agent. We've talked him in Carolina, of course.
Yes.
You and I both said it. On the show and off the show.
Yeah.
Miami.
I don't know. I like Miami, what the Miami is starting to build.
Right. But now you bring in that receiver.
Put in that receiver, but with him and Wallace together, but Hartline, who is the most underrated player in the league.
You make Nicks and Wallace your outside guys, and Hartline becomes your slot guy.
But the thing is,
that's a good 3 receivers.
Hartline's not really a slot guy. Everybody thinks he is, but he really isn't. He's gotten 1,000 yards the last couple of years. I'm not saying he's an elite wide receiver, but he is a pretty good wide receiver. So I don't see the Dolphins going after Akeem Nicks, especially on how poor of a season he's had this year. It's going to be interesting. I've never seen a player play down for a contract year. And that's just a weird scenario. And with the Giants and Redskins game, pretty much both teams are playing out the string. Better luck next year to both teams. We're expecting the Redskins to obviously have a new coach next year, since it'll be no way in hell that Shanahan keeps his job after the Giant game. He'll be the first coach to be fired.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't know.
I kind of think that they like what they've been building there with him.
Have you been living under a rock the last couple of weeks on how much of the drama there?
I understand that, but you know what? You have your star guy coming off the ACL. You may give him a short.
He tried to get himself fired, and he's gone. There's just too much drama that's happened this year, and they played a tough game with Kirk Cousins the last couple of weeks, but unfortunately haven't gotten the wins. When you're 3-12 or 4-12, it's just 3-13 or 4-12. It's just an ugly season, and they got the team. It was just one of those ugly seasons from the start. They could have done a lot of things different, and everything they touched just turned into poor. poor decisions. So I expect a new coach with RG3 healthy next year. They're going to be a better team, of course. So, but the Giants they're just happy to get this nightmare season, and you got to give them credit from starting the season 0-6 to fight back to potentially be 7-9 is pretty good. So you got to give the Giants for not quitting. They've had their moments of completely quitting, and they didn't. That just shows a testament of the Giants, how much they like Tom Coughlin and respecting him for that. So hopefully the Giants finish 7-9, but 6-10 is going to be not a good not a good ending to the season, especially on how poorly it started. It was just a good, refreshing way that they didn't quit. So thank God the season's over. It was just one of those ugly seasons. It's just whatever the Giants touched turned poorly. We have a few bright spots this year. Run defense was great. Was today that Justin Tuck was envisioning that Sunday might be his last game as a Giant. I don't think so. He just has to say that to be careful. I think the Giants would be dumb to let him go. The way he's been playing this year, I think for less money, they could definitely get him to come back. And I think he would sign the hometown discount. I could see him sign the hometown.
I can see it as well.
He said it so many times that he wants to retire a Giant. He's going to retire a Giant, and I see that happening. It
was that Evan Roberts and Joe Meningo that were talking about it the other day, and it is. You look at him and you see Strahan.
Yeah,
You never saw that in OC.
No, OC was all about the money forever and a day, and OC should still be a Giant, but fame got to his head, and
he's also from Atlanta.
He's exactly, but Tuck's staying a Giant. I think we're going to find a way with the amount of money we're going to have of cap space in the offseason.
Key next year, though, is that Pierre-Paul's got to be signed.
Thing with Pierre-Paul, yeah, but he has to stay healthy, too.
Oh, yeah. No question about that.
And that's why we've sat him out the rest of the season to keep him healthy for next year. Yeah, but you need the other guy to help him out, because I know a couple years ago, next season, that 1 year when he had that awesome year with 16 sacks, that was 3 seasons ago. And he has not played up to his potential. I know injuries had a lot of things to do with it, but he hasn't hit double-digit sacks since that.
Right.
And we gotta get him going to be the JPP that we know and love, so we can pay them the money and be that guy that we know and that has the potential to be a Hall of Famer, which we saw in 2011/12, since we saw a lot of it in the playoffs as well. But Justin Tuck is going to help him out with that. And another year with DeMontre Moore. Let's have him grow under Jay Tuck's wings, because Jay Tuck's going to retire in a couple years.
I agree. But next week we will do that. We will go through the list. We'll go through the list and we'll do.
But I had to bring it up since he did mention it. And that was the main story of tonight for the Giants media right now. So I think the Giants are going to pull it out. They're home. They played well at home, other than the select few games like we mentioned. But we were expected to lose one of them. The Cowboy game was just down to the wire, typical Giants-Cowboys game.
What was the stat I read? Was it you that I sent it to? They have the most losses by a team.
Eagles? The Cowboys? Yeah.
They scored 25 points in a game or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
And we lost 24-21?
Yeah.
Should have let them get that one more point.
Yeah, I know. And it would be nice to win one division home game at home this year, since we failed to do that against the Cowboys and Eagles this year. So I expect the Giants defense to show up. And after the last win we had with RG3, granted that was RG3's last game of the year, we played great. They played solid that game, and we found a way to pull it out. So I think we're going to do it again, and we're going to actually sweep a team in the NFC East this year.
Yeah. I think we should be able to
see you next year, guys. It's sad to say, but thank God this season's over. But we're gonna miss you guys.
We are.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a completely different team next year.
I kind of hope it turns into the same thing that it's been the past couple of years of Giants are out, Islanders turn it around.
Well,
late in the year turnaround.
We'll see about that.
Give me some excitement, because
all I got is spring training. So
it's like 50-something days.
Oh,
it's almost here.
I know.
Almost here.
It would be nice for one of the hockey teams to get hot. And then
the Olympics are coming up.
Thank God, USA. That's the.
Hey, USA Juniors looked really good this morning.
Did they?
Today. Yes.
Okay, we're talking about football. We'll talk about that later. But that's good to hear. Granted, this year was a rough one. It's sad to see the season's over. going to be over on Sunday at 4 o'clock for both the New York teams since they both play at 1. So it's sad. It's always sad to see your team and the other New York team, whichever team you root for, to have the season over before the playoffs. Especially on how high we talked about the Giants just all season. But it is what it is. I believe in Jerry Reese, so they're going to make the right moves. So,
do you consider this a big year for him draft-wise?
Yeah.
Past couple years have not really.
I think he had a good year with Pugh and
you know what?
And Prince.
Think about that question because we're going to talk about that next week.
Okay.
When we talk about the offseason with the Giants.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. So let's go play a little more Division 1.1, and we'll be right back with our picks.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
Welcome back to this week's final segment of this week's S&D Podcast Show, episode 58. Once again, Division 1.1, Cross the Bear. First off, does Payton break the single season record?
Yes, of course.
The passing record?
Yeah.
Is he going to play enough to give you over 300 yards?
Yeah, definitely. He played enough against the Texans last week, did he?
Oh, yeah.
And
that wasn't even fair.
The track record at Oakland this year is really grim.
So basically, halftime?
Halftime, yeah.
Okay. Just double checking. We'll go through scenarios real quick. NFC, Seattle's got a spot. Carolina's got a spot. San Francisco's got a spot. Seattle, it's a win and clinch everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or San Francisco loss. New Orleans wins. It's in the playoffs with a win or Cardinal loss.
Okay.
They clinch the South and a bye
with
a win and a Carolina loss. Carolina gets the South and a bye with a win or New Orleans loss.
Okay.
Carolina gets the South and home field throughout. They can get home field throughout. With a win, Seattle loss, San Francisco win.
Wow. Think about that.
Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
They would even have that chance.
That's crazy.
All right. The Niners, a playoff spot.
Okay.
They get the West and a bye with a win and a Hawk loss.
Okay.
The West and home field throughout with a win, Hawk loss, and Carolina loss.
Okay.
So 3 weeks ago when we gave the Seahawks home field advantage throughout, there's now 3 other teams that can possibly... Two other teams that could possibly get it.
They'll still get it.
All right, Carolina... Arizona's in the playoffs with a win and New Orleans loss.
Kind of would love to see that.
Do you realize they'd be like a 3 seed in the AFC?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's sad. And they should have been in the NFC East division as well. That's how crazy it is. And the NFC North, for that matter. If they were in any of the other division, they would
already have a playoff spot.
Yeah.
They'd be on a bye this week, basically.
Maybe not really in the South, but two other divisions, they would have clinched the division 2 weeks ago. And that's sad to see.
All right, Philly and Chicago can both clinch the divisions with wins and ties.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas and Green Bay need wins.
Yes.
So ties don't help Green Bay and Dallas.
Okay.
And they can't get buys at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't matter.
Now the cluster of the AFC.
Okay, let's have the fun begin with that.
Okay, Denver's got the West in the first round bye, but not home field throughout yet.
Okay.
New England's got the East.
Okay.
Indy's got the South. Cincy's got the North. KC's got a spot. Denver, pretty simple.
Win in
their home field throughout, just like last year.
Mm-hmm.
Or New England lost.
Okay.
New England gets a bye with a win.
Okay.
Or Cincy lost, Indy lost.
Okay. Both good. Okay.
Denver loses. New England wins. New England gets the home field throughout.
Okay.
Cincy gets the bye, the win, and a New England loss.
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis gets a bye,
Mm-hmm.
the win, New England, and Cincinnati loss.
Gotcha.
Now the fun. That last spot. All right, I'm going to start with the Western. I'm going to start with the Chargers because they have the least amount of things that...
They need everybody to win. Lose for them.
No, actually, they actually have only 2 of the teams. They need Baltimore and Miami to lose only.
Okay.
Pittsburgh doesn't even matter to them.
Okay.
Pittsburgh needs everybody to lose.
Pittsburgh needs everybody
Baltimore,
to lose. The Pittsburgh or the New York Giants from last year. We needed like 3 teams to go right and lose, and that didn't happen, of course. But go on.
Okay. Miami, win. Baltimore loss, Miami in.
Okay.
Miami win and San Diego win. Miami's in.
Okay. Miami just has to win to take care of their destiny, essentially.
Right. Baltimore, it's a win and San Diego lost, they're in.
Okay.
A win, Miami lost, they're in. Or all 3 teams have to lose.
Okay.
If every team loses, I
Pittsburgh.
believe it's Baltimore who's in.
Okay, because a better record, because against the Steelers and...
Right. If every team wins, Miami's in.
Yep, because they are holding that 6th seed right now.
So,
It's going to be cluster. And I think I picked all those teams to win in my this week's pool when you sent me the email today. Let's go.
so let's go. Let's go. Carolina at Atlanta.
Falcon fans are just pleased on the season already, and Panthers are going to try to get that filter out. They're going to leave everything on the line, and see you in 2 weeks. Panthers, they're weekly offense.
Okay, I have the Panthers as well. I mean, Atlanta just let's get back up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Baltimore at Cincinnati. Cincinnati basically needs help to get the bye. Do you really want to risk injury?
No, they'll still play. It's a division game, and they're a different animal at home, so I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals. The Ravens, especially against the Patriots, who they play well against all the time, gets absolutely beast mode against a very hurt Patriots team. That's never a good sign. I'm taking Bengals at
I have the Bengals as well. The Ravens up and down. But then again, the Ravens could just get hot and going around this week. Okay, one of our meaningless games of the week. Houston at Tennessee.
Another team like the Falcons, they're hoping to get the first pick overall, but the Titans are slightly better. I'm going with the Titans.
This was just a mess. It's bad. It's bad in Houston.
But they are this year's Kansas City Chiefs. Next year they'll get a quarterback, hopefully, you think, and they'll be right out of playoffs.
Yeah, but here's the difference.
Coach.
How many of our picks that we have, including yourself, picked Texans?
I did.
No, including yourself. There's at least 4 or 5 people.
A lot of people.
Except the Texans. They had the expectation.
Yeah. And they had a couple injuries here and there. It was just one of those, wow, like the Chiefs last year. They had 6 Pro Bowlers last year. And look them up now. They have a lot of pieces to build around, so I'm not really worried. If they get a top pick, they're going to make the right decision. And if they get the right coach, they'll be a playoff team. No question. So
They also have a problem because Andrew Luck's just going to get better.
yeah, they're in a tough division, but they can easily, with their pieces they have the core nucleus, they can get a good team going again without no problem. So I'm not worried with that. I'm going to take the Titans. Next game, Colts Jaguars.
This one's tough because I like the way the Jaguars are playing, and the Colts essentially have nothing to play for this week.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. I just like they finally get in that rhythm.
I think that wall finally hit the Jaguars. They went on that nice run.
It was a very nice and commendable run. A lot of Jag fans, I'm sure, are pretty upset, but happy they won. But they proved them not going to be top pick.
Still gonna be the top 15, so. All right, we said Miami, both of us.
Both of us, because they have the playoffs on line. If the Jets play well, great. If not,
They're a team that's going to be scary in the postseason. If they end up
I don't.
at
think
least
so.
the first week.
I don't. They'll make it interesting. There'll be that first game in the playoff slate that no one goes, okay, maybe nice for Miami to be in the playoffs kind of thing, but they're not. Unless Tannehill gets protection, but we all know it depends week to week with Tannehill. When he gets protection, he's going to be good. But other weeks, it's just whoosh. So let's see which team shows up. I especially think they're going to show up at home, especially on how poorly they look.
Okay, so we both have Miami. All right, Minnesota's final Metrodome game.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Metrodome. Last game at the Metrodome.
The last ever sporting event at the Metrodome.
I have the Lions because they were just the better team, but
I like the way Castle's been playing. I'm going with Minnesota this week.
yeah, I think they're gonna send Jim Schwartz out with a good win. They're gonna find a way to win. They're just the better team. Granted, they didn't look like that against the Lions, so I'm going out with the Lions. Hopefully that doesn't save Schwartz's job. It shouldn't, but
Right, we both think the Giants will beat Washington. Here's the interesting thing. The Steelers hosting Cleveland.
I'm saying Steelers. They've just been playing so well lately. They got the running game going too bad. They started 0-4. If they didn't start 0-4, that division would probably be theirs in their wild card spot as well. So, coulda, woulda, shoulda with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I'm going with Pittsburgh. Finish out the season strong regardless. They were like the Giants last year. Had their moments.
I've been liking
Yeah, you have, and rightfully so. They are the New York Islanders.
I feel like they have the team built, and they're going to get the offensive lineman they need.
They just need a freaking quarterback.
Stick with it.
Stick with him. They need a quarterback.
It's not like they don't have the receiver.
But they will have the draft picks. Like
they have 2 first-round draft picks.
No excuses this draft.
I'm going to go pick.
Okay, we both got it.
Here's my upset pick.
Okay, since now he's...
Rodgers is playing,
okay.
but I'm going to stick with Chicago at home.
Okay.
I'm going to go Chicago
so
at
you
home.
think Rodgers is going to be rusty? Not enough?
Yes. I don't think he's 100%. And think about all the other quarterbacks we've seen with this injury.
Fair enough, but it's his other shoulder. So.
It's still a rough injury. It's still in the motion. It's still part of the motion.
I think the Packers are going to win, but it's going to be an ugly start to the year. But Rodgers 50% is better than Flynn any day of the week. And they're going to find a way. Both teams are going to keep it close. It's going to be a boxing match. At the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is going to win it. Aaron Rodgers against anybody on any given day, and you might get Lacey's been playing well. I'm sure he's going to play, make it playoffs. Cobb might even play. So that's a lot of weapons back. If the Packers get fully healthy and they win the division, they can make that run. They can easily make that run. Their defense is not the greatest, but with Aaron Rodgers at control, you never know. But I'm sticking with the Packers. I finally have a Packer. I'm hoping to finally have a Packer pick right, considering I picked him thinking that he would play the last 3 weeks. So, with that being said,
they finally told us before we did it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm picking the Packers. They're gonna find a way.
All right, I'm gonna go with Chicago, even though I rooted for Chicago last week, and we saw how that ended.
Yeah. That was okay.
All right, we already said Denver.
I think, and if Rodgers is buffed up a little bit, I think with Lacey they actually have a run game this year. So I like Eddie Lacy's game, so I think that adds the passing dimension to the Packers finally beating them. So Jordy Nelson will be happy, and everybody's going to help you with that. So just having him back is going to be good.
Okay, I'm going to take, I said I was going to take the Bears for that game, Denver over New England, and over Oakland.
Okay.
I apologize.
We both have the Broncos. Come on. Every big game that a player has had this year has come against Oakland in Oakland. Foles with 7 touchdowns. Jamal Charles 2 weeks ago with 5 touchdowns. It's just the Raiders are those whipping boys this year. Obviously, the Broncos. And Peyton Manning breaks all the records possible. Yep.
All right. Yeah, I have the Broncos as well. All right. Rematch of Week 1. One team that's always give Brady fits is Buffalo.
Yeah, but Pats
not at this point.
Not at this point this year.
Okay, so we have New England. New Orleans is at home against Tampa. That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
This one's interesting. Arizona is favored over San Francisco. Yeah. But I'm going to take the Niners.
I'm taking the Niners because you know they've been my Super Bowl pick since the beginning of the year. They've just gotten hot. I just like the way they've been playing. Arizona is a great story, don't get me wrong, but Niners are just a little bit better.
Okay, Chiefs at Chargers.
I actually...
With Chiefs being the underdog.
I'm taking the Chargers. They have a little bit more playing for them right now, but I like the Chargers. They should help strong, and hopefully maybe try and get up a playoff spot. But this all depends on how everything goes in the 1 o'clock games, because there are only a couple of 4 o'clock games this week, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs in that game. They're starting to turn that corner back to where they were at the beginning of the year. They're going to finish out strong. And they're going to be a threat in the postseason. If Indy beat them last year, I think that they're going to go play Indy next year. Go into Indy and take care of business. Okay. Seattle hosting St. Louis. Yeah.
Seattle.
Congratulations, you got home field throughout.
But the Rams are good. They've been playing better as of late. But you're right, Seahawks are.
The Rams are the team that I want to play in the 3rd or 4th. I don't know. Don't waste that first pick. That's going to be a top 3 pick. Get somebody to protect Bradford, and then take a quarterback later. So when Bradford gets hurt, you can find him.
Yeah.
Okay. And the main event.
I mean, everybody's been made for it.
Typical Dallas and NBC game. I think they should just set it up where Dallas plays.
I think they have.
Well, now it's just becoming the point where it's a story.
Yeah.
It's ratings.
I'm going Murphy's Law. Everybody's picking against Dallas. Dallas's defense is the worst defense in the league against a high-powered offense with Chip Kelly's offense. No Tony Romo. Is Tony Romo playing? Yada, yada, yada. I'm going upset pick of the week, and I'm going Dallas. I'm going Kyle Orton's going to find a way to pull out an upset against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just finally Murphy's Law. It's just going to happen, unfortunately. It pains me to say Dallas Cowboys are going to pull out the upset at home in Jerry's World to finally make the playoffs and laugh at all the critics that said they couldn't do it. They're going to do it, unfortunately. I'm going Cowboys as my upset pick of the week.
Going Eagles. I've been riding polls in fantasy football.
Yes, you have.
So, we got to stick with it.
It pains me to say I'm picking Dallas, but
And it pains me to say that I'm picking
yeah,
Philly.
I know. But it's going to be funny if Romo pulls a Willis Reed and finds a way to blow it. But all that being said, I'm going out on a big limb, and if the Eagles win, I'm not shocked. But congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. They will win the division on Sunday, 11 o'clock. There you have it. Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton's going to pull out a victory out of his butt. It's going to happen. That's Brian. Maybe he might run the ball with DeMarco Murray this week more than 7 times.
In the second half.
Maybe that's just a hint. I don't know. I'm not an offensive coordinator, but when you do get DeMarco Murray the ball, they do end up winning.
But who would you rather running the ball?
Obviously. But Dallas is going to pull out a victory. It's going to happen.
Alrighty, those were our picks for this week. Don't forget to check them out on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram page, and all those other pages.
I don't feel confident with the Cowboy pick, by the way. I'm just trying to make me feel better that I picked the Cowboys.
I got to get our standings up before this week.
One loss, stubble and nothing, Cowboys. Oh, no. I'm not rooting for them, by the way.
We're not rooting for either team. we just have to pick them. It's in the list.
Oh,
it's on the
boy.
list.
Oh, boy. Dallas.
Okay.
With that being said,
Hold on, wait. If you're Romo and you don't play, if you're not there, are you wearing a Nick Foles jersey?
Oh, you're a running joke? No, he's a Cowboy. He's not wearing that.
Okay, are you secretly cheering for them to lose because you know you're going to get ripped apart?
He could easily be back next week. Just how everybody's saying he's not as hurt as everybody leads on to him. So he could easily come back next week and find a way to win. So easy on that.
All right, I figured I'd bring it up. On that note, Merry Christmas. I hope everybody got what they wanted.
I did.
I know Packer fans got a day late present.
Yeah.
With Aaron Rodgers. Division 1.1, check them out. They have a show coming up. We'll get the details for you guys for next week's show. Don't forget, our friend Rob Barden's going to be on with us next week. There's no Dump and Chase podcast this week or next week. They'll be back in 2 weeks.
That's lame. Boo on them.
Slackers. That's what I call it. Slackers.
We still found a way to do our podcast.
Both weeks.
But then again, we don't run a website.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
We run Facebook page.
And Twitter.
But anyway, Division 1.1, Eyes on Isles. Check out last week's.
You want to laugh? Andy didn't know who I was when I texted him Merry Christmas yesterday. He thought he had me saved, and he's like, "Who is this?" Because I texted him Merry Christmas, old man. So he didn't like that too much, and he's like, "Oh, it's you, Merry Christmas," and then this was history. I thought it was funny.
I just like to say you just ripped Andy on our podcast.
Yeah. What else is new?
Okay, fine. Remember that was Dan Behan.
Andy knows I'm kidding. When are we coming on to the Dumb and Cheese podcast? Which we were
well, they're off this week and next week, so they're not planning anything.
The world will come to an end if I'm on that show.
Anywho.
Anyway.
Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Enjoy the final week of the NFL, and we'll see you guys next week.